All right, Shalom. First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Through the Spirit today, I just wanted to go into, the topic of, Christopher Columbus, but mainly, how, the so-called Negroes, all right, today, and the so-called Latinos and Native Americans and so on and so forth. Of course, us in the know, we understand that we're all one nation, all right. But you have people who think that there's a difference, that we're different, quote unquote. You have people who think that we're different races, you know, like the so-called Negroes are one race, the Latinos are another race, and all that, which is all BS. All right, we are all of one nation. Okay, the Lord divided us by nations. Okay, and we're all of one nation, being that nation of Israel. However, all right, due to a captivity, okay, due to the captivity which we were put in, especially the one we're in now, all right, which was the worst one, our heritage and our nationality was taken away from us. Okay, and that's why the scripture says we were going to be a proverb and a byword. Okay, because our people don't know, most Native Americans, well, most Latinos, I should say, all right, they can't see past Columbus. They can't see what where their heritage goes, where their ancestry goes, prior to Christopher Columbus and the colonization of them by the Spaniards. All right, and with the so-called Negroes, they can't see past Africa. They think that Africa is where it all began and that's where we're all from. No, all right. Our ancestors, all right, are which we're Israelites, okay, but our ancestors, the Southern tribe, which will consist of you so-called Haitians, Jamaicans, West Indians, Negroes, African Americans, blah 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 blah. All right, ancestors. That our ancestors fled, okay, from the nation, from Jerusalem, all right, into the western parts of Africa primarily. All right, they fled into Africa, but the most part of them settled in the western parts of Africa. Okay, all right, to flee Roman persecution. All right, which was around 70 A.D., which this book From Babylon and Timbuktu, it states it in here. Okay, so let's read that real quick. Try to enlarge it. There we go. So this is on page 84 of the book From Babylon to Timbuktu. All right, now before I finish reading this, you have to keep in mind the main thing they did was break that language barrier. All right, them breaking the language barrier between us is what caused that quote unquote division, because the southern tribes were speaking Hebrew, okay, and so were the northern tribes, all right, here in the Americas, and the southern being in the quote unquote Africa. So what did they do? They colonized us, the southern tribe, and made us speak what English and French and all that stuff, and then the northern tribes made them speak Spanish, all right. So although we're both in America, all right, in captivity here, all right, and other parts of the world, but primarily in America, we don't speak the same language, okay, which what I mean, us not speaking the same language from the jump. If they did not break that language barrier, all right, the Negroes, the so-called Negroes, all right, or the Southern Kingdom, all right, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and the Northern Kingdom, being in captivity or being oppressed in the same area, would know that they were the same people, all right, because they would understand that they spoke the same language, okay. But today they're taught that they're different people. Why do you think, if you really think about it and consider it, the main people that so-called Negroes hang out with the most, other than other Negroes, are Latinos, and vice versa. And when I say Latinos, I'm talking about Mexicans, Native Americans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Colombians, all of that. All right, you don't see Jakes, you don't see so-called blacks hang out with Chinese people and white people and so-called white people and East Indians and all them, like they hang out with the northern tribes. All right, and vice versa. That's why you see a Judite man with a Ephraimite or Simeonite or a northern tribe woman, and vice versa. Okay, because it's just we're the same people, man. We vibe when although it might be in wickedness, when Jake go to a party, all right, and this Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, that party's quote unquote, all right, turned or lit, which is what they call it nowadays. But when you see their parties and stuff like that, primarily who do you see there? You see blacks and Latinos, you know, because we're the same people. But I'm gonna read this. This is in it says in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem, and Yahushua prophesied this. All right, in 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with a great slaughter. Many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. Now, mind you, these were Israelites because at this time the Northern Kingdom was already here in the Americas. So it was mainly I say the Southern Kingdom that went through this. All right, Judah, Benjamin, Levi. It says during the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. All right, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. So, a lot, primarily, all right, it says what over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. Now, they were already inhabitants, people living in Africa at the time, Hamites. All right, so the Jews really fled there and started living amongst them, but they weren't the same people. Okay, just because they had a similar hue or similar complexion does not mean they're the same people. Okay, and so when Esau, all right, when these other nations came there, all right, when Esau came there and got us on them cargo slave ships, all right, and colonized us and put us in slavery and beat us down and broke our spirits and put the indoctrination that they wanted to put within our heads. They taught us English and all these different languages and broke the language barrier. Okay, that was the colonization of the blacks, the so-called blacks. All right, because nobody's really black, we're Israelites. Okay, but that was on that side, and then okay, you have what Columbus did. Okay, on the and not only him, but the Spaniards in general, them colonizing the northern kingdom. Okay, and when they did that, of course, they didn't tell us we were Israelites. They told us we were blacks, we're red, natives, savages, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. Those are not our biblical names, but the scripture says it. Jeremiah 17 verse 4, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage. What's our heritage? Israel. All right, the blessings and all of that come with it. All right, because the word Israel means what? He prince of power, or he's a prince with God. So we inherit the blessings of being the sons of the power that I gave thee. See, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, and which shall burn forever. Okay, so this was one of this is something the Lord said will happen to us. And that's why our people today go by these names and they don't know what their true heritage is. Blacks, so-called blacks, they'll say, "Well, I'm just black. I don't know where I come from." But that's all. That's because the Lord set it up that way. Okay, so that's what happened on that side. But the scriptures tell you here, all right, that the northern tribe, all right, the northern kingdom, they came over to the Americas, all right, after the Assyrian captivity. Now, mind you, okay, Christopher Columbus, this is written in the book of Esdras. Christopher Columbus read the book of Esdras, and that's how he knew, all right, where the 10 tribes were, where the Latinos and the natives were. So I'm going to read this. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 13, verse 39. It says, and whereas thou sawest, let me just, here we go. And whereas thou sawest whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, so they came into another land, into captivity. It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. See? And so, because people really didn't dwell in the Americas. All right. Of course, you had, during King Solomon's time, he had Hiram, I think that was his name. All right, come and get, certain resources from this place. So they knew about this place. All right, but they didn't really dwell here. All right. So it says that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. So the Most High guided them. All right. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Ashereth. All right. So they called it Ashereth. All right. The Americas was called Ashereth. Now, when you look up the word Ashereth, all right, and this is in the Jewish Encyclopedia. Let's read what it says. It says the name. Let me see what I could. There we go. The name. All right. Now this is Ashereth. Well, here it's spelled Arzareth, but it's the same word. It says the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man. Is that not what we just read here? Okay. That where never mankind dwelt. Okay. So it says, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration. That's literally in the book of Esdras. All right. It says what? That they might keep the statutes which they never kept in their own land. All right. The 10 tribes. So it says, according to Second Esdras, Columbus identified America with this land. Who? Columbus. Columbus identified America with this land. This land, what? Arzareth or Ashereth. Okay. It says Columbus identified it with this land. So Columbus knew, okay, Columbus knew that this was where the natives were. So when he was coming on his voyage, he knew exactly where he was going, man. Okay. He wasn't looking for no random and somehow ended up here. He knew exactly where he was going, and what his purpose was, what he was coming to do. Okay, what he was coming to do, man. Now knowing, all right, having the knowledge that the 10 tribes were gonna be here in the Americas, and knowing where he was going, what did he do? He came with a Hebrew translator whose name was Luis de Torres. All right. So I'm gonna read a little bit on that. It says, in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and his interpreter was a Jew whose name was Lou, and that is true. So it says, indeed, it is true. Luis de Torres was not the only Jew who sailed with Columbus on the 3rd of August that year. Columbus's navigator and his doctor were also Jews. All 3 and 2 more were Jews who underwent formal conversion to Christianity one day before the voyage began, but were nevertheless viewed as Jews both by other Jews and by Spanish Christians who called Jews converted to Christianity marranos, meaning swine. Huh. It says Columbus included de Torres because de Torres spoke Hebrew. Columbus evidently believed or wanted to believe that he would meet Hebrew-speaking Jews on reaching the other side of the world. Columbus believed he would find the 10 lost tribes of Israel. Now, how would he know that the 10 lost tribes of Israel were gonna be in the Americas or in Ashereth? Because what is written in the book of Esdras, and he read it. I believe it shows you in the movie 1492. He says it. You know, the dude asked him, well, how do you know, how are you sure of what you're saying? He says, well, Esdras wrote about it. It's written in the book of Esdras. Okay. So they knew it, man. And he knew that the tribes were going to be here. He knew that they spoke Hebrew because they were Hebrew Israelites. All right. It says there, and hence thought he would need a Hebrew speaker. All right. It should be noted that the voyage of Columbus was financed by 2 Jews, i.e. Luis de Santangelo, Chancellor of the royal household of King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, and Gabriel Sanchez, Treasurer of Aragon, both conversos, of course. So Columbus, all right, knowing this, which is written in the book of Esdras, so for those who say, oh, the Bible is written by man and is BS and so on and so forth, well, explain to me why Columbus was reading it and using it to find the 10 tribes. And now when he came over here, what did he do? He colonized them, right? And knowing that they spoke Hebrew, what language did they force upon them? Spanish. Mainly what? Spanish. So now you have a part of the tribes of Israel speaking Spanish and another part speaking French and English and all these other languages. So them being oppressed and put in the same land, America, for captivity, what's that gonna do? They're not gonna know that they're the same people because their nationality has been taken away from them. Their language, which is a part of their heritage, has been taken away from them. All right. This is Jeremiah 50 verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah. The children of Israel represent the northern kingdom, and the children of Judah represent the southern kingdom. Were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. See, and that's why I believe in the book of Ezekiel, the Lord said, "What? Take two sticks." All right, roughly paraphrasing, and basically join the tribes together. You know, because we were divided. All right, through this captivity. Okay, but the Lord is bringing us back by way of this truth. Okay, so this is going to show you, man. A lot of people nowadays think that what we're different and so on and so forth, man. We're just the same. We're the same people, man. All right, we are the same people, and that connection is there, man. That vibe is there. Okay, we were just colonized, all right, and taught different languages, different quote unquote, different. We were fed different foods, you know, and we were stripped of our nationality and our heritage to the point where we think we're different when really we're the same. You have Jakes in Jamaica and Jason in West Africa thinking that they're different people when yet they are the same. You know, they are the same, man. You can have a Jake from West Africa come here and blend right in, and you can't tell the difference. But if you bring a Hamite, you can tell the difference, man. A true African, he cannot blend in with the Jakes over here, or the so-called blacks over here. All right, why? Because they're not the same people as us, man. All right, but this was just a video. All right, just going into this because I was meditating on this. All right, and it was heavy on my mind, basically, man. That look, man, Columbus, he read the scriptures. Columbus read the Bible. All right, and he knew exactly what he was doing. All right, Esau, this was systematically designed, man. They knew what they were trying to do, man. They had a goal. All right, although it was prophecy, man, these Edomites had a goal. Okay, but ultimately the Lord is bringing us back together by way of this truth. All right, waking our people up and uniting us, man. Okay, so Lord willing, this video was edifying and informative to the elect. All right, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.